Uh, my my name is Jan Gorley, and I am a project manager here with Literacy Link South Central, delivering the Step Up and Succeed project. Summer, over to you.
Thanks so much, Jan. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we'd like to start by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all of the lands that we're on today. While we meet on a virtual platform, we'd like to take a moment to recognize, respect, and acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. Today, let's reaffirm our commitment and responsibility to improve relationships between nations and our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. Let's remind ourselves that wherever we are, we live on the ancestral and unceded territories of Inuit, Métis, and First Nations peoples. So a little bit about our presentations today. We're recording today's session so that it can be shared with other employers, as Jan said. We're going to be providing you with a copy of the slide deck following today's presentation. We welcome you to use the chat feature in Zoom to ask questions throughout the presentation. And we'll answer as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation. So today's agenda. We are going to start by talking about what a regional literacy network is and who your literacy network is. We'll discuss what the Literacy and Basic Skills System does. We'll be answering some common questions about the Literacy and Basic Skills System, and you'll see the acronym there, LBS. We'll mention that a few times. It does stand for Literacy and Basic Skills. We'll talk about how the LBS system supports workers and apprentices. We'd like to then get to know a little bit about you and your experiences and share the Step Up and Succeed Resource Hub, letting you know what it is and how to use it. Finally, we'll finish with the Q&A and feedback that we mentioned at the beginning of our session. So to start, the Learning Networks of Ontario. First of all, they are the support system for the Literacy and Basic Skills System across our province. They are known as LNO, or the Learning Networks of Ontario, and our responsibilities include coordinating literacy services, helping people understand how literacy skills impact success in other areas of life, including employment and success in the skilled trades. We do a lot of referrals for people to programs that can fit their needs, and there's quite a wide variety of programs, which we're going to talk to you about in a moment. We also offer training and develop resources for use both in and outside of the LBS system. So we may be developing curricula for use in a program, but we may also develop resources for those that are not in LBS programs, something that we'll also be talking with you about today. We respond to community needs by working in partnership with organizations like service system managers and workforce planning boards to really get a deep understanding of what's happening within the communities in which we work. And it's great to know that anywhere in Ontario there is a regional literacy network like the one that we're here with today, Literacy Link South Central. There's a QR code on your screen as well as a link on your screen that you can see there that will take you to a map that will show you exactly all 16 of the regional literacy networks in Ontario and where they work. You can type in the name of your city, where your business is located, and it will tell you which regional literacy network is yours. Now, we're pleased to say that we have joining us today from the Metro Toronto Movement for Literacy, the regional literacy network for the Toronto region. Ambreen is with us in the audience today. She's going to turn on her camera and say hello to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you, Ambreen. So when we talk about reaching out to a regional literacy network to get support, Ambreen in Toronto will be your main contact. You are, of course, welcome to reach out to Jan or myself at any time, and we're happy to put you in contact with others like Ambreen and the rest of our Learning Networks of Ontario peers. So, first of all, what does Literacy and Basic Skills actually do? First of all, it's a system of free adult education programs across the province that offer foundational skills upgrading. And foundational skills are all of those skills that people need to be successful, not just in employment, but in all areas of learning and life. The skills that you see listed on your screen are those foundational skills. The federal government refers to these as the skills for success, and they include what you might originally think of as literacy, which is reading and writing. But they go far beyond that and include skills like numeracy, or working with numbers and math, digital skills, working with computers and technology, adaptability, collaboration. It's interesting, these skills are soft skills, some people will call them. They're a little bit harder to measure and sometimes really hard to develop. Communication skills, my personal favorite, creativity and innovation, which ties very closely to the last item on our list of problem solving. Within adult literacy programs across the province, these skills are embedded in the curriculum. So while somebody may come into an adult literacy program for support, for example, with numeracy, there will be activities built within the curricula that they're working on that include the development of collaboration and communication skills, for example. Now, the Literacy and Basic Skills System is part of Employment Ontario, which means that we're funded through the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development. There are programs across the province that can be found in adult high schools, in colleges, and in community-based standalone programs. Sometimes they're associated or co-located with employment services programs. So there's quite a wide variety. In terms of delivery of service, our LBS programs offer services in English, in French, in American Sign Language, in Braille, and customized to reflect Indigenous teaching and learning philosophies. So there's quite a wide variety between our programs. Some common questions that we get about literacy and basic skills. I'll start with, what does individualized refer to? Because we often refer to individualized programming. Now, individualized is a recognition of the fact that unlike, say, in elementary or secondary school, where everyone in a class is all at the same grade level and all working on the same curricula, that is not what happens in a literacy and basic skills program. In literacy and basic skills, everyone in a classroom is there for a different reason, and they're there with a different set of skills, both that they walked in the door with and that they wish to develop before they leave. So it very rarely happens in a literacy classroom where you would have a situation like we have today, where one person right now is standing here telling everyone in the virtual audience the exact same information. That does not happen in an adult literacy classroom. Instead, when somebody comes in the door, they do an assessment to identify what their skills are in the several areas that were listed on our last screen. From there, the literacy practitioner or teacher will develop a learning plan that is individualized and includes curricula that specifically speaks to the skills the person in the classroom needs to develop. So you may have two people sitting side by side in a classroom, both working on incredibly different curricula to build very different skills at very different levels. It's very individualized. What we mean by customized when we say that our curriculum and our training is customized is that many people, when they come into a literacy program, say that they want to develop their skills not just for the fun of it, not just because why not, but because they have a goal. They have a purpose in mind. As an example, there are, generally speaking, most of our learners are there for a training goal, like they would like to achieve a certain level of training. For example, they may want to return to high school if they have left high school before graduating and earn the high school credits they need in order to get an Ontario secondary school diploma. They may be looking for a high school equivalency, like the Canadian Adult Education Credential, which a lot of people shorten to CAEC, which I think is very funny. It is the replacement in Canada for the GED, or the General Educational Development Certificate. They may be already in possession of a high school diploma or equivalent and want to move into post-secondary education and need to brush up on some of those skills that we mentioned, the reading, the writing, the math. You know, if you have not done essay writing in 20 years, it's an excellent idea to come back into an LBS program, brush up on those writing skills before paying tuition for post-secondary education that you may then struggle with because you have not used those skills in a few years. So training, that kind of thing, that educational component, and also employment. And two big categories for us related to employment and what drive people into literacy and basic skills programs a lot are employment in general, needing to be able to upgrade your skills to be successful on the job. We especially find this as things change in the workplace. And I'm sure you all know that we have a huge influx of change that is happening within many workplaces. Now, whether that be because there's new technology coming into the workplace, or there is a change in process, perhaps there's a change in client and you need to learn all about the needs of a new client. When things change, someone who has issues with their literacy and basic skills can struggle with the new processes, the new learning, the new digital technology. So literacy and basic skills is an excellent resource for those folks in that time of change. We also serve many people who are interested in pursuing a career in the skilled trades. They may not yet have started working in the trades. They may already be working in the trades. They may be assigned apprentice who's working towards the completion of their certification. One of the things that a lot of people don't necessarily know prior to entering the skilled trades is just how important math is on the job. So we have lots of folks that come into our programs to brush up on those math skills to make sure that they're prepared to do their on-the-job training in whatever apprenticeship they may be pursuing. All of that to say, we offer customized curricula that meets those goals. So if I have two people, again, side by side in a literacy classroom, and one is brushing up on their essay writing skills to prepare for post-secondary, and the person right next to them is brushing up on their numeracy and math skills to prepare for an apprenticeship, they're not getting the same curriculum. Each one is going to be customized to the end goal as well as the skill they're trying to develop. So an apprentice can be doing activities related to math that are all about, for example, the amount of lumber you need to buy to complete a project with this particular specification. In terms of what literacy programs look like, there's a lot of answers to that question. We have programs that offer one-on-one in-person tutoring. We have programs that have small group and classroom-based delivery. We have more traditional looking classrooms. We have classrooms that are full of computers. And we have classrooms that are not even a physical space, that are available remotely so that somebody who wants to attend a literacy program can do so remotely at, say, 2 a.m. if they're working shift work when they're done for the day. Who can attend a literacy program is all about our eligibility. Anyone who is an adult in Ontario, that means 18 years of age or older, who has a social insurance number that allows them to work legally in the province, that's because we are, of course, funded through the Ministry of Labour, who presents a need. When you do an intake assessment, again, I said we measure some of those skills that were on that last slide. If someone has a need, then we are here to help support them. They also need to speak English or French at a language level that would allow them to understand the instruction. So literacy and basic skills programs are not the same as English as a second language programs that teach the actual language for people to use. There does need to be a bit of a foundation. It doesn't have to be strong, but they need to at least be able to have a conversation with their teacher in order to be able to benefit from these programs. One thing that I didn't say that I think is really important to acknowledge is it does not matter what level of education someone has when they come into an adult literacy program. We don't look at that as part of our eligibility criteria. So you can have a college diploma and still have a need. You're welcome in an adult literacy program. And the last question about how long a literacy program takes, well, kind of depends. It depends on where somebody is starting, what skills they need to develop, and what their ultimate goal is. If somebody has dropped out of school, say in grade 8, and needs to earn a high school diploma and then upgrade their skills for a further goal beyond that, it might take a little longer than somebody who just needs to remind themselves about the Pythagorean theorem so that they can be prepared for doing some of their work as a construction, somebody who's working in construction. So because we spend a lot of time working, especially with apprentices, helping them prepare, we wanted to give you a quick overview of how we help people prepare for an apprenticeship. So we, within an LBS classroom, talk an awful lot about the skilled trades and what an apprenticeship is. We help people identify what skills they already have and which they could improve to be successful in the skilled trades. We do all of the activities that I've already described to you, helping people practice those reading, writing, math, digital literacy, and interpersonal skills that they need both in school and on the job. And for many people, needing to achieve a credential that will allow them to sign their apprenticeship contract. Some trades, that's a grade 10. Others, it's a high school diploma or equivalent. Our programs can help people prepare for that. Once someone is signed as an apprentice, they do not need to disassociate with an LBS program. As long as they have a skill they want to develop, they are welcome to stay with the program, continuing to build those foundational skills, especially once they encounter things on the job that they're finding challenging. Within an LBS program, we also help people brush up on their study skills to prepare for that in-school portion of apprenticeship training, with a focus on how to communicate in writing, so how to actually write what you do instead of just doing what you do, and also taking tests. So it's really important to know that if you're working with an apprentice at any time and they are struggling, they fail their level exams, a referral or a request to connect with the Literacy and Basic Skills program would be an excellent next step. So we invite you to contact your regional literacy network if, for example, and there are many other reasons than these, but here's a top 4. If you have a job applicant that you would really like to hire, or possibly even a person who's already on your staff that you feel would make an excellent apprentice and you'd like to sign them, but their foundational skills don't quite meet the requirements, adult literacy and essential skills programs would be a great place to refer them. If you want to take on an apprentice but find out they don't have the credentials they need to sign that contract with the Ministry of Labor, again, we can support the apprentice-to-be with that. If one of your apprentices or other employees needs to improve their math, reading, writing, and all of those digital and interpersonal skills, but they can't leave work to do that, that's fine. We have programs that can work outside of their work hours. Or if you have an apprentice who's nervous about the in-school portion of their training, or of taking their CFQ exam, their certificate of qualification, if they've already tried or failed, we've got programs that are here to help you. All right, I'm going to hand this over now to Jan.
Thank you so much, Summer. So we've told you a lot about us, a lot about LBS programs and what literacy networks do to support literacy across the province. And now we'd like to know a little bit more about you and particularly your experiences with apprentices. So we invite you to open a web browser if you're on a computer or a laptop, or to get out your phone or a tablet and join us on Menti. You don't need to have this application downloaded. You simply need to go to menti.com and enter the code that we've provided on the screen there for you. So the 5720-9649. Or if you have a phone or tablet, you can simply scan the QR code that's on the screen with your photo app, your camera app, and that will bring you to that menti.com website. So we'll give you just a moment there to join us. We have a few simple questions for you, nothing complicated. We just love to know more about your experiences, and we're confident that the resource hub that we're about to share with you is going to be able to address maybe some of the challenges, or maybe just talk about in more detail the experiences that you've had with apprentices and supports that are available to help them. So I'm going to invite Jeff to bring our Menti presentation on screen. And if you weren't quite caught up with us, in the chat window that you'll find that link to the Menti questions is located there, and the code as well. So please feel free to continue to sign in and come and join us. And what you should see on the screen once you join us is this very first question that's showing on the screen for you now. So on your computer or phone or tablet, this is what you should be looking at. So our very first question for you today is, have you ever felt that the process of registering as an employer sponsor was too complicated? So we're thinking about, I think I want to take on an apprentice, but first I have to register myself as an employer sponsor. Have you ever found that to be complicated? Yeah, we're seeing a few yeses there. And I want to let you know that the resource hub that we're about to share with you has been developed in consultation with feedback from employers just like yourselves. And this is one of the areas that employers have expressed to us has been a challenge when it comes to taking on apprentices. So that aligns well with what we've seen in the past. So let's take a look at our next question. So next we have you ever found it difficult to find and hire apprentices? So finding that talent that you're looking for and onboarding that apprentice, going through that whole hiring process, job postings, interviews. Have you ever found that process to be difficult? Maybe even to find that a potential apprentice to begin with, right? How to advertise that posting or how to make sure that you have the right apprentice for you. Yeah. And as you might have guessed, we're seeing a lot of yeses there. And that again aligns with the feedback that we've seen from employers across the province. Let's move to our next question. Have you ever worked with an apprentice who struggled with math on the job? So they've come to you and maybe they've had some great skills as far as the tools go, as far as wanting to be there, but maybe there's been some specific math challenges that relate to their work. Yeah, and we're seeing quite a few yeses there as well. And again, that's well in line with what we have been seeing across the fields, the landscape for apprenticeship. Let's go to our next question. Have you ever had an apprentice that couldn't progress from level 1 to level 2? So we're talking here about the leveled schooling, an apprentice that was doing great in terms of the tools and the day-to-day job, but when it came to that in-classroom learning, that block or leveled schooling, there was some challenges. Yeah, we're seeing some yeses there again. And again, that aligns with the feedback that we're receiving. And really, that's a great reason that we've been sharing all of this information with you about the LBS programs, those free programs that are available to support apprentices, because there's work that can be done to support those apprentices and help them continue on their journey. Let's go to the next question. All right. In 3 words or less, it's a challenge. We love games here at Literacy Link South Central. What is your greatest challenge when it comes to hiring or keeping an apprentice? So when it comes to attraction of your workforce or retention of your workforce, 3 words or less, what's the challenge you experience? Money, leave for. I think Menti did a creative rewording structure there. I'm imagining that what we mean by that is leaving for more money or leaving for money. And definitely that has been something we've heard from employers, again, across the province that, especially as a small or medium-sized employer, there's a real competition for talent right across the landscape. And, really you're having to struggle to kind of keep those apprentices and not have them move on to bigger companies. Oh, we're seeing communication, excellent, and adaptability and teamwork and finding the right people. Yeah, so again, this all comes back to those supports that our LBS programs can offer to you, but also in addition to that, some great resources that we want to share with you today through our Step Up and Succeed project and the Employer Resource Hub that we're going to be sharing with you in just a moment. So thank you everyone for your participation. Really appreciate that. And I'm going to invite Summer to bring back up our presentation slides. And next, we're going to be talking about this project that we've spoken about a couple times now in our presentation that Literacy Link South Central has been involved with, which is our Step Up and Succeed Apprenticeship Initiative. So what is Step Up and Succeed, right? And why is it important to you? So the Step Up and Succeed Apprenticeship Project it has really been developed to focus on supporting employers and their apprentices across all 4 sectors of the trades, really an understanding that employers have a limited amount of time, very, very busy, and that really you're in need of resources that can really support the work that you're doing, trying to support apprentices. That includes that attraction piece, but also retaining your workforce and not losing them to that larger competition that's out there. So this project has been developed, as I mentioned, in consultation with employers across the province and employer supporting organizations across the province to really understand what the needs are for small and medium-sized employers, what can be done to support you and give you some extra tools and easy to use resources to keep your workforce and help them be successful on their journey through their skilled trades career. So the purpose is really to give you those actionable, easy to use, simple resources to affect change, to help you, with your bottom line, right? Save time, save money, and keep that workforce. And so really that's the why, right? It matters because we know that it's important for your success to have simple tools and resources available to you at your fingertips, to not have to spend a lot of time doing a lot of research or going out trying to find the support that you need, and to making sure that you have that workforce that you need, right? We know that there's a lot of challenge right now in the skilled trade landscape when it comes to the number of workforce members that are needed, and we really would like to support you with that and making sure you have what you need. Next slide. So the Step Up and Succeed Resource Hub is full of a number of different types of resources to support you. These include tip sheets, guides, checklists, fillable templates, and videos. And the goal here was to create a one-stop shop of resources. So you don't need to be going out scouring the internet and phoning people. You've got it all at your fingertips. It's free and it's online, so you can access it at any time, whenever it suits you and whenever it's needed. It has been designed to be easy to use and approachable for anyone and everyone. And it shows you how to make those small changes that I was talking about to really impact your bottom line as a business person. Next slide. So I just want to share with you, and we are going to take a moment in a moment to actually go through the Resource Hub and take a look at what it looks like and what some of those resources are that are available to you. But before we dig into the Hub, I just want to let you know that the type of information and strategies that are available to you around attraction and retention of your workforce are going to be able to be found throughout every section of this hub. And so the goal is to support you with your efforts to attract and retain apprentices. When it comes to attraction, some of the strategies that we discuss in detail in the hub include those that are listed on your screen now. We understand that small employers are competing for talent. We understand that you're short on time and you have a lot of responsibilities and obligations. You're wearing a lot of hats. So the hub is providing you with strategies that you can implement around being competitive outside of wages. These include things like building team morale and a sense of belonging. And some strategies that are in there include things like hosting monthly lunches for your employees, investing in charitable work that's meaningful to your staff, offering group benefits, providing bonuses and staff recognition, and offering free professional development training to help your workforce continue to upskill and feel valuable and feel that they have the knowledge related to their trade. There's also strategies for working out, with outside support organizations to expand your hiring pool. So for example, did you know that Employment Ontario job developers can work with you? They'll develop job postings for you that are specific to your needs and your company. They'll also even pre-screen candidates for you before sending them on to you for a final review. Also, have you considered working with a group sponsor? We talk about this in the hub. Group sponsors can find candidates interested in careers in the skilled trades. They can do pre-screening and offer employment skill upgrading, and they'll often take care of the sponsorship process of the apprentice by completing registration paperwork. So all you really need to do is focus on supporting the tools, training, and daily work of the apprentice. Some group sponsors will provide ongoing support as well and help apprentices get connected to mentorship to help and even help them prepare for their CFQ exams. Another great source of apprentices who are ready to work can be accessed by partnering with programs like the OYAP program. So OYAP candidates have already completed at least one co-op during high school and have chosen to focus their academic pursuits toward the trades and taking trades-related coursework. And they're often motivated and come with some employability skills and tools training already having been accessed. We also discuss in detail the steps that you can utilize to ensure you've got inclusive hiring practices, meaning that you're accessing a broader pool of talent and that broader pool of talent will feel encouraged to apply for your jobs. You'll also find a 6-step guide that walks you through the apprenticeship process from start to finish and includes even more strategies on how to find the talent that you need. Next slide, please. So when it comes to retaining your workforce, some of the same strategies can be utilized, like being competitive outside of wages. That would also apply. But within every section, you'll find additional tips and strategies are explained in detail. So for example, you'll find support around how to create a psychologically safe space where everyone feels safe and included, which includes strategies like providing equal opportunities, an environment that's free of harassment, discrimination, and bullying, and how to create a clear mechanism for staff to seek support if they need it. There's also tips around how to provide workplace accommodations and where you can go to find PPE to suit everyone who may join your workforce, including, for example, women. Clear communication is also incredibly important when you consider how your employees feel about their work environment. So you'll find information about how to provide clearly written documents that are easily understood by your whole workforce, and some strategies around effective communication, including active listening and how to navigate difficult conversations. And we know that apprentices and workforce members who feel supported and feel there's an opportunity for growth will often stay with their employer. So we've provided information around how to connect your apprentice with a mentor and even some upskilling and free training opportunities throughout the hub that can be shared with your workforce. Next slide, please. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at the Step Up and Succeed Employer Resource Hub. I invite you to go ahead and open that hub yourself. However, I will be walking you through this on screen. You'll find in the chat window that we've gone ahead and supplied you with the link to the hub so that you can access it at any time that you'd like, whether now during the presentation or afterwards. And the QR code on the screen will also take you into that hub. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can go ahead and take a look at the hub with me. All right. So what you should see on your screen right now is the landing page for our Step Up and Succeed Apprenticeship Initiative. And the big golden button that shows on the screen there is where you would need to click to access the Employer Resource Hub. Once you click on that gold button, you're going to find that you've landed directly in the Resource Hub. We've shared some information here with you around the types of tips and strategies that are included and what we feel that these tools can offer you in terms of support. And then you'll find that there is access to 7 different sections within the hub. So we have how to be an employer of choice for all, how to find talented, capable apprentices, becoming an apprentice sponsor, make your writing clear, skill development for your apprentice, and communication strategies. And last, building your support network. At the bottom of the landing page, you'll also find that there is an opportunity for you to provide feedback. So if you find that there's information you'd like to share with us about the Resource Hub, if you have maybe a suggestion for a new resource or something we should consider developing, or even if you just have a question about what you're seeing or some additional support information that you'd like, you can reach out to us at any time. You can use the email that's listed or click on the send an email button, and that will send your feedback directly to us. So I also want to take you into one of the sections of the hub so that I can show you how those sections function and what you can expect to find within the hub. So we're going to go ahead and go into one of the sections, the one that is called Skill Development for Your Apprentice. What you'll find in each section is that everything that's contained there is color-coded. So it's going to be really easy to understand where you are in the hub because once you click that color-coded button, everything inside that section will match. You'll also find on the left-hand side, there is a navigation menu. And we recognize that there's a lot of information in the hub. While we welcome you absolutely to scroll through and read all the information that you find there, there may be a time where you may not want to be scrolling down through all this information. You may have something specific in mind that you'd like to take a look at. And so you can click directly on that title within the section, and it will jump you down to that area within that section of the hub. So if I were to click on how to connect with local literacy and basic skills providers, I would jump down to that section of the hub and be able to access that information directly. You'll also find we have a button in the bottom right-hand corner that will jump you back to the top of that section so that you can continue to explore other areas within the section or return back to the hub home to access a different section. The other thing that I want to mention to you is that within each section of the hub, you will find on the left-hand side a series of icons that will let you know that there's a particular resource that we've developed there for you. So this down arrow inside a box is letting you know that this is a particular resource that you can download and have access to directly on your system, so you don't have to return to the hub if you don't want to. And then there's also another icon that is a globe icon, which I'm just going to scroll down to so that you can see it. What this is telling you is that this is an external resource. So you'll find that in our hub, there have been many resources that we found for you that are free or very, very low cost. And so we're providing you links directly to those resources that are either for you or may in some cases be training or upskilling that you can share with your workforce as well. Along with that, there is one more button I want to share with you, which is in the navigation menu, this resources button. So if you're particularly interested in just having all of the resources that are included in the hub right on your own machine, and you're not looking to scroll through the information contained, you can click on the resources button. It will jump you right down to the bottom of the section, and you'll find that all the resources that we've developed are all housed right in the bottom of that section for you. All right, now I'd like to go ahead and just show you a couple of examples of some of the types of resources that you might find, you will find within this resource hub. So an example of a resource that we've developed for you is this How to Provide Accommodations Quick Tips. So you'll note here that this is a very, very simple, straightforward guide. It's a one-pager on how to provide accommodations. It certainly does not give you all the information that you as an employer might want to know around accommodations. What it does do is give you simple, quick steps that you can follow to understand how to provide an accommodation and keep the process going. If you wanted to read in more detail and understand a little more information around accommodations, that information is provided right in the main section of the hub. So if we were to go to the How to Provide Accommodations section, you'll find that there's a lot more information contained here and even some external resources surrounding how to provide workplace accommodations. But this one pager is that quick resource that you can access. Another example is our 6 steps to sponsoring an apprentice guide. I mentioned this to you earlier, and I mentioned that this guide will walk you through the process of taking on an apprentice from start to finish. I apologize, I was at the bottom of that guide. There we go. So it will give you step by step from all the way from just evaluating whether or not you're ready to take on an apprentice, all the way through to completing that training agreement, getting it sent off to the ministry, and helping your apprentice consider preparing for their next steps in their certification exams to move on to being a journey person. And as mentioned, you'll find in here that there is some direct steps, but also we've listed some of those support organizations that I mentioned earlier for your consideration around making sure that you're well connected and maybe accessing additional supports to save you some time, recognizing that you don't have to do it all. Sometimes it feels that way, but really there's many supports out there and many opportunities for you to connect with other people to help you both hire and retain and support your apprentice. And then the last resource that I wanted to share with you is the one around skill development for your apprentice. And so Summer talked at length with you about what LBS programs can do to support your apprentices. And this is an example, again, of just a one-page quick guide that you can access that can help you reflect back on, you know, if you have an apprentice with a particular challenge or a particular need, can an LBS program support that need? And how can you reach out or invite your apprentice to reach out to get that kind of support? So these are just a few examples of the types of resources that are available. There are, as I mentioned, a wide variety of fillable checklists, templates, guides, videos available to you throughout this hub. But I welcome you to explore that on your own time, and certainly reach out to us if you have any questions around what you're finding in the hub. So Summer, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and jump back into our presentation if you'd like. Excellent. So your feedback is incredibly valuable to us. This resource has been developed by employers like you, and it is for you. So we'd really love to know, number one, how we've done today, but also we'd really enjoy your feedback about the hub itself once you've had an opportunity to go in and explore and look at those resources. So if you wouldn't mind, if we could please ask you to take a quick 2 to 5 minutes to fill out our event feedback survey. It's a very short survey. You can access it using the link on your screen, or you can use the camera on one of your devices to access the QR code, or you'll find that the link has been inputted into the chat window, and you're welcome to just click the link to access that feedback survey. And we'd really, really appreciate your thoughts around what we've shared with you today. And now we would welcome any of your questions regarding anything that we've talked about today. LBS program supports, the Step Up and Succeed Employer Resource Hub, or any other questions you might have around attraction and retention of your workforce. So we'll invite you to go ahead and input any questions you have in the chat window, or if you'd like to unmute and ask your question out loud, we're welcome. We're glad to answer those questions by that method as well.
And as we move into this section of our presentation, we're going to go ahead and stop the screen share so that we can have an open conversation, and I'll be stopping the recording as well. Thanks, everyone.